So we have this steak dinner tonight where we are going to be testing out the best meat at the Lake of the Ozarks. So the first thing we thought when we did that was, well, what the hell are we going to pair it with? And then we thought, all right, where are we going to go to get what we're going to pair it with, which leads us to Macadoodles. And I got the pleasure of meeting Chuck, who is going to show us what he suggests that we pair our steaks with: red wines, all bottles under $30.
Right.
But before we get to that, I have driven by this place countless times and thought to myself, maybe we should go in there and get some macaroni and cheese.
I know, very strange name, isn't it?
Macadoodles. So tell us a little bit about the franchise, what you know about it.
Well, the franchise, it's originally started with Roger Gildahouse, originally from just outside of St. Louis. And originally he worked for Bob Walton
Oh, really?
of Walmart.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He started managing when he was like 20 years old, and he learned how to market things properly.
Yeah.
He decided to go into the liquor business. So
Really?
he's done very well. I don't know the exact number because they keep popping up all over the place,
Yeah.
but they're northern Arkansas and then most in this area of Missouri.
Okay.
There's one going up in Darden Prairie, up
Okay.
in
Yeah.
like
St.
St.
Louis.
Charles
Yeah. Yep.
County. It's a great place to find anything you want to drink. And actually, for me, it's a great place to have a retirement job.
That's great. And when he says anything to drink, obviously this interview can't do this any justice. We will have B-roll covering the entire store, but I mean literally everything, including behind us is a cigar shop. So
That's correct.
I assume it's beer, it's wine, it's liquor,
Spirits. Aperitifs. What else do we have? We have sake back here.
everything.
Yeah.
What would you say, is there a thing that Macadoodles is best known for?
I think the variety of choices that you have at a Macadoodles, not all of them carry the same things. We all have different distributors, and we'll get somebody comes in from Springfield. Yeah, I've had this wine. They show it to me, and I go, well, I'm sorry, I can't do that. We don't have that. But I can suggest something pretty close.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Is there another, so we are, again, Macadoodles. This is in Osage Beach off of KK. So very easily accessible.
Right.
Right off the highway, right next to McDonald's. Easy to find, massive. Is there anything that you would say is even comparable to this down here at the lake? Are there many places that are this magnitude of selections?
I would think that the first one that would come to mind would be Hy-Vee, because they're just a little bit bigger than Dierberg's, but this is the prime area to find what you need.
There's not a liquor store, so
No.
there's grocery stores that have a large selection.
Right.
But this is very unique. So if you didn't know about this place, or you've been like me and you've driven by it thinking you're getting noodles, you are in for a pleasant surprise, I would assume, if that's what you're looking for.
And that's right, because in this Macadoodles, I'm not sure about the other ones. I've heard that some don't allow the employees to sample. Here, we're a little bit special. We believe we need to know what we're trying to sell. So during my shift, I get to sample all of our wines here, including spirits, and we have distributors that come in every other day or so, and we'll bring in certain wines and spirits, and we get to try those out too. Sometimes it makes for a very interesting day. You know,
You're gonna say, what do you walk home? Or
I've wondered sometimes, but I mean, when you have to try maybe about 20 wines and some spirits too.
Sounds like a miserable job.
Oh, it is. Oh my gosh.
All right, so when I pulled up, I noticed there was it almost felt like there was two sides. It was Macadoodles, it was wine specifically.
Right.
Is it set up that way for a reason, or?
I think just to keep everything kind of clear. The spirit section really doesn't have much to do with the wine section. I mean, we're all buds, but the deal is I'm pretty well versed with spirits, so I can help out on that side. People over there really don't know much about the wine. So whenever you get somebody that's got a little bit of background with both, it works out pretty good here. And we have really an extensive spirit section over there too.
I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Yes.
When you say experience, what does that experience besides drinking it entail from your perspective?
Well, I've done a lot of traveling and stuff. So I've been to Europe, and I've French wines, Italian wines. I've been to Mexico, so I've had a lot of Argentinian and Chilean. And for a long while, back when I lived near St. Louis, I was in a wine club. And at one point in time, I think I had 400 wines in my cellar.
Oh, wow.
So, and then of course I love my scotch. I love vodka, gin, tequila, mezcal.
You don't discriminate.
Except for bourbons. I'm not a big
Really?
fan.
Okay, well that's my favorite. So that we just became unfriends a little bit there, Chuck.
That's a shame.
But I think you'll bring me back. So all right, then my last question before I turn it over to the winos is, if you are on death row, last meal, you can have one wine. What color, what flavor, what bottle is it?
Well, I'm only because I've just been introduced to them. It would be a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
Pretty near, I think.
It's a white.
Yes, Whitehaven would be a brand that I would probably do. It's so in your face with citrus and grapefruit, and it's dry, and it's very complicated. Lemongrass, and all sorts of.
You have a palate that can pick that stuff out.
Yeah.
All right, so.
But any of these, there's all sorts of intriguing things in this.
And the three we're going to try. So, okay, the inmates are going to be the guards are going to be very generous today. And so they decided they're not just going to let you have a wine, but they're also going to let you have one other choice of liquor with your last meal. What is it?
Oh.
Is it a beer? Is it a scotch?
No, it's
is it a vodka?
Single malt scotch.
Okay, gotcha.
Somewhere in a Lafroig or something like that.
Nice.
Just
nice.
Once again, in your face, peaty.
You like peaty? You like a peaty scotch?
Oh,
okay.
It's like #1 intense scotch in the world.
I do like it. I've taken scotch classes. I feel like people either love it or hate it. I personally love it if I drink scotch, but I'm more of a bourbon guy. So.
But if nothing to say about bourbon, I like a good rye whiskey.
Okay.
There's something about corn in my alcohol. We're getting off course here, but even my vodkas, I prefer Polish potato or Polish 100% rye.
Okay.
But
because
like Tito's,
it's mostly corn-based vodka.
Yeah, Tito's is corn, and it just doesn't do a thing for me. It's too sweet. I can pick out sweetness very easily.
I've asked you enough questions that I think you've proven your knowledge. So I am going to turn this over to the winos. We're going to do some tasting. I want you to give our audience more of a understanding of what you chose, why you chose it, knowing that we're pairing these. So we're doing a top 5. We just did a top 5 pizza joint at the Lake of the Ozarks and had fun with that. So we decided what's next, and there's countless ideas. We're going to do steaks.
Okay.
And so we got a steak from the butcher shop in Camdenton, Three Brothers, Deerbergs, Woods, and Gerbs, because nobody could give us any other suggestions of butcher shops other than these two on this side of town. So we're gonna be doing that, and we thought, you know what, why not do a video and come talk to somebody, a sommelier of sorts, not officially, but in my book you are, and you're gonna guide us here. So I'm gonna turn this over to Kelly and Brian, and you're gonna talk them through it. They're gonna taste it and see what happens.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're excited to try some of these wines you've selected for us today. Can you tell us what your first choice is, and give us a little idea of the taste for it?
Sure. This one is called Octopoda, and it's from the Russian River Valley. It's a Pinot Noir, and it's going to be the lightest one that we're going to try here today.
Great.
It's, I'll have to taste it because my memory is not so good, but it's not like I really can remember everything.
Well, there's
But-
That might won his job.
But it's got a great little light purple color. There you go.
Thank you. Cheers to our first sampling.
Yeah, it's got a very nice light nose, strawberry, cherry.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's really light on the tongue. It's once again berry.
Mm-hmm.
There's zero tannin. I mean, absolutely none. It's when you think of a dry red wine, this one doesn't really fit. I mean, it's not sweet, but it's not overly full of tannins and, you know, things to make your mouth pucker.
Mm-hmm.
Although that's what I like, but this is really good.
This is very
Yeah.
smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you keep track of knowing what these wines all taste like? I mean, there's such a large selection.
He drinks a lot.
Well, it's true. We usually sample out about 7 bottles a day,
Wow.
except during the off season. We no longer sample on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday,
Mhm.
so there's not enough traffic in here. But the other days, you know, we like to sample this much. We usually have at least one sweet and then some sort of a white. So we did Chardonnay, and we also have a Sauvignon Blanc from California, and 1 or 2 reds
Mm-hmm.
to go with it.
But boy, to keep track and
It-
just try to even wrap your mind around this large of a selection.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, you taste these this week, but somebody's going to ask you about one of these other bottles,
Mhm.
and you have that knowledge.
Well,
That's amazing.
I can always look it up, but I can only vouch for things that I have
Right.
tasted. But we've tasted quite a few in here, so it's
Great.
yeah.
So what else is your next one you suggest?
Okay,
for
the
us?
next one is it's a Mettler Old Vine Zinfandel from Lodi, California. Now this is kind of unique that ordinarily a Zin is going to be spicy, but since you're going to pair it with that nice little filet, you don't want all that spiciness and black pepper, etc., etc. So this one's a little bit different on the nose. Once again, it's got black cherries, maybe.
Yeah. A little bit stronger. I like
Yeah,
it.
we're working up to the strong. This one would also be very well done with that steak.
I like this one even better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good.
It's got a great mouthfeel to it. It's
Yeah.
very silky smooth.
I wasn't sure if I was going to like getting a little bit bolder
Mhm.
from the first one, but now I really
Yeah,
like it.
just wait till this. That's bold. But once again, that's one of my things. This has been a favorite since I popped one open, I don't know, about 6 months ago.
Mm.
But the Brady vineyards are really good. We've got Cabernet Sauvignon, we've got Merlot, Zin, Cab Franc, and Chardonnay. And they're all, I think, 90 and above, 91 and above. So, yeah, they're all very well. You just don't see the little gold seal on them, but
Right.
that's what they rate.
Well, I like the fact that the 3 wines you selected today for our pairing with the steaks tonight are all under $25.
Right. Well, we don't want to break somebody's budget.
Right.
And we've got some high rollers that come in here and
Oh, sure.
$300 a bottle and walk out of here with a $4,000 tab. But
Getting on the $1 million boat.
give me a break. I can't do that. Okay, and then this one is Brady Vineyards Cabernet Franc from Paso Robles, just under Monterey. And this is going to be just a bit on a different side. You're going to see that the color is just absolutely dark. The nose is going to be full of smoke, tobacco, leather.
Sounds like a very manly drink to
No,
me.
and
Zach,
ce-
you better get up here and try a sample of this one. Zach's with us, so
Okay,
we're going to have him sample
and
one.
cedar, actually, believe
Okay.
it or not.
Aren't
It's
you allergic to cedar?
I'm not allergic to wine.
here you go, my dear.
Thank you.
How's that going?
Here you go.
Oh, thanks, sir.
Bring you in for the strong one.
I appreciate you.
But this is That nose is so much different from the other one.
Wow.
It's very intense. If I was going to have this steak, well, that's my opinion. This would be mine to have because it's,
Yeah.
you know,
Cheers.
even though there's not much fat in that meat and it's only going to be seasoned lightly, it's still,
Wow. That's a
It's
tough.
hard to beat.
that's what I said. I fell in love with it the first time I had it.
Pretty tasty, isn't it?
Yeah. It's different than what I expected.
Yes.
You smell it, the robust flavor, but it's not harsh on you.
No, it's,
nice.
once again, very few tannins in it. It slips down the back of your tongue without abusing it.
Well, that can sneak up on me.
Yeah. That's
I think of the three that we sampled, I'm just going to say what my favorite
Mhm.
was of the three. I would go with sample number 2.
Well,
I just love the way it landed on my tongue. This was wonderful, but a little strong from a female point of view.
Right. Oh,
You know,
I
I can
gotcha.
see where you guys would
Well,
like
when
that.
you- When you pair it with food,
Mhm.
maybe a lot different.
They're all three great. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that of the three, my favorite was this one. What was your favorite?
I have to say, I like the first one and Brady most.
okay.
For different reasons.
Mhm.
One,
Thank you.
this octopada was very, very smooth, very light. Like, oh yeah, I mean, even if it was a 90-degree day, that would be a great wine to pair with your dinner.
Right.
But the flavor on that one on the Brady was pretty phenomenal. That's just, I was not expecting quite.
Yeah, you could even use a different steak
Yeah,
and still pair that with that. And so, did you get all fillets or did you get a different
I
cut?
think we're off.
a one ribeye.
Oh, there you go.
That would probably be your
Yeah.
ribeye. The Brady would be your ribeye.
That would do it because a little more fat in it and so on and so forth. So yeah,
So it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to let Jeff select what we're going to have for dinner tonight with the wine. We're going to go back to our place, and Brian's going to cook up these steaks, and we're
And
going to
I
report
think
back.
Jeff is buying, so if a couple of those $300 bottles find their way in the bag, no big deal.
All right, so now we got to go take our bottles, purchase them. I need to go sniff around this store. You need to come to Macadoodles, see Chuck. He will guide you. You just saw what he did with our friends here. And so whatever you're eating for dinner, they should come in, see you, tell them exactly what's on the menu. You're going to tell them exactly.
oh,
what's
absolutely. I always tell people that. What are you going to have with this? Please.
there. Love that.
We can.
Great, we learned a lot today, too.
Absolutely. I'm glad to know about this place. So Chuck, thank you for having us.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
welcome.
And we look forward to patronizing and filling our liquor cabinets.
All right. Thank you.